you can sack the SMG players and not worry about it too much. But I do like the rifle style just because that's some confidence in your ability to stay alive and keep those guns alive for the following rounds. You're just looking to build your economy. So Sparrow, he gets smoked off once again. Furlan's going to take Magisk, and then Smells, he was looking for an angle there, but he's not quite going to find it. It's Furlan instead with his second kill.
Yeah, and importantly for Kinguin, it's only Sparrow that's fallen down so far, so that's the UMP, no big deal. Can easily replenish that into the next round. Dignitas have got the bomb planted, but it's unlikely they'll get anything else out of this round, as Rubino now the last remaining Dig player, and he's been spotted in ramp. He's got a P250, maybe close range, he can do some damage, but Furlan lands himself his third of the round, so a solid hold by Kinguin. And Dignitas have some options into the next round, but they've kept all their assault rifles alive.
That's actually the best outcome for Kinguin possible. They had Hulk, or Rollin rather, who had the kit. And so even with Dignitas getting that Molotov down on the bomb, trying to buy as much time as possible to deny that defuse, didn't matter. And they keep all 4 rifles alive. This round, it should be even better because Dignitas, they do get the bomb plant, but they're not going to have the money to buy, so they're just going to go for deagles. Cajun, of course, has to ruin the perfect quintuple deagle play. But they have the rifles now, Kinguin, so they really should just be shutting this down.
Yeah, and of course, it's that off as soon as possible, I would imagine. But Dignitas going to be going in. These deagles do still afford them quite a lot of potential into this round. They've got plenty of firepower on their side. The issue is they have no nades. There's going to have to be raw kills, and MSL has landed himself a one-tap onto Mazinho. And meanwhile, Furlan's trying to spray across onto the site. Unfortunately for Dignitas, it's not the bomb carrier. He's still in mid. That will be Cajun. Oh, Config point-blank range shuts down Furlan, and that's going to open up a site. So maybe they can get this plant after all.
Possibly, except that now they don't have control of short nor CT. So this should actually be very difficult now for Dignitas to get the bomb plant. They do have a minute left to rotate around, but Rollin is already on that B site ready for it. So they just needed situations like that, basically, where Mihu tries to sneak his way forward. Cajun B with an M4 that he got picked up. He actually finds a kill, and this has turned into a very expensive round for Kinguin, which is very surprising considering the firepower, the superiority of the firepower that they had at their hands.
The good news as well for Dignitas is all that happened in such a quick amount of time. They've still got 40-odd seconds to play with, so they can go for this fake rotation and draw out one of those CTs to go for the rotation itself. Sparrow's now given up A, so Dignitas is going to be able to claim some real estate on the A site, tossing the bomb down so it can get planted. And now it's just going to come down to those aim duels, where you'd honestly fancy Dignitas to probably come out ahead. The downside, config is low and only has a deagle, but they can definitely pull this off now.
Now, Sparrow just needs to be patient. He needs to wait for his teammate to get into position before he starts moving forward, because if they go in one at a time, this is going to get pretty... They're at risk. There's still a deagle on config, and Cajun has got that M4, so Sparrow at the stairs is a bit of a better spot, and now he spots his teammate in CT, so he knows he can start getting forward here. Good use of the nades to pick off the one, and Cajun's been spotted up in the apartments, so a solid retake, but sloppy from Kinguin. It looks like Dignitas are finally starting to get their heads in the game, because that was a very close round, all things considered.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, Dignitas with another bomb plant, their third in quick succession, means they can have a full buy in the next round. They can afford an AWP if they so choose. So I'll be curious to see if Cajun goes for it, and indeed does. Instant goes for himself with that AWP. Config with an AK, so it's going to be pretty much as you'd expect. And Kinguin, as a result of losing quite a few players, they've got a player down to $0 at Sparrow. Furlan's only on 1,200. So they have to be also careful and walking on eggshells now, economically speaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just lost a lot in that round, which was supposed to be a very clear-cut, easy economy building round, rather, and it just did not pan out that way at all. Dignitas, now we're starting to see what they're capable of. Just with the Eagles, they made that so expensive. And now Dignitas, maybe in the pistol round, they might have been, a little slow to the start and maybe underestimating Kinguin a little bit. But I think after that start now, they should actually get their heads in the game here and start taking things pretty seriously. So we'll see how Kinguin can adapt to this now.
Yeah, you'd assume this is the beginning of Dignitas stepping up, but if Kinguin could take this round out of them, this is going to put them into a commanding lead. Being said, Config is going to draw first blood onto Furlan, peeking out of the ladder hole, and that's a pretty important kill. That's going to give a lot of mid control now across to the terrorist. Mihu, in the meanwhile, will be moving his way, where his fallen teammate will be residing.
That was very clever of Config, having spotted the vents broken. He was like, wait a second. He's not expecting the second man, however. MSL getting picked off for free, and Config now has to find this shot. Not going to get it. There's the repeat, and Config eventually finds the headshot. We're into a 3-on-3 with 45 seconds left, and, well, we just lost Rubino to Sparrow's AWP, but Cajun B is there to trade on Rollin. Going to miss the follow-up, but he's still got Config. No, I lied. Config gone. It's all on Cajun.
35 seconds left, and the bomb, so he can now traverse his way through onto the B side, and the CTs have called this one very quickly. So Sparrow's already in hot pursuit alongside Mazinho, who's going to be going through the T side. Well, I thought better of it. They need to move in together, though, Semler, because if they go one by one, that's really potentially going to play into the hands of Cajun B, who will be getting this one plant. And I like that Spero's waiting. He's not going to be facing just yet.
Play with your teammates. You've got the flash. He's just trying to disorientate Cajun B there for a moment. But with that edge on the smoke, not sure if Spero managed to spot him. It did look like he was scoped up at that angle, so they might know where Cajun's coming from. Yeah, Spero not looking away from short. And it just looks like Cajun B, he ran out of luck in this round. They do know where he's coming from now.
Can he land the tasty one-taps, though? That could keep him in this. Spero's going to be close range with the AWP, so if he misses, he's going to be a dead man. And he's looking at the right-hand side. This allows Cajun B to come round the side and land the 2 headshots. Very well played. Kind of unfortunate for Kinguin. They banked on the wrong angle, and that is Dignitas picking up their first round. But it was labored at best. Cajun had to pull out a clutch there.
Yeah, the 1v2 clutch, and also just the fact that it's just a tough call. They thought that he backed all the way off to short. They knew that he had backed off to short. They just weren't expecting him to be waiting on the other side of the pillar. That's brutal. So Cajun, he catches him for free, and well, Kinguin, they had a real chance to dumpster Dignitas in that round. Really recommend get off to that strong start. Instead, Dignitas are the ones who are putting quite a bit of pressure on Kinguin. Kinguin, you can see, 2 SMGs because they can't afford it, and Rubino going to start things off strong. They try to go for some aggression, Kinguin, in Palace and get picked.
Yeah, that really does seem like a bit of a desperation play. Double peeking on Palace, and Rubino gets a kill, and for clean as well. He's still got 100% of his health intact. So that is a massive turn of events for Dig. You can see Kinguin's economy is already struggling. I mean, they've still got just a UMP in play on Rowland. Few grenades really just on him and Spero with a flashbang. So it's asking a lot of them here. They're going to have to get a kill, and it looks like Mihu could be the man to deliver. Hiding behind the smoke with his back turns, the pop flash comes in. Gets the spray on the first player. The bomb's going to get dropped down, and a second very nearly connects on a 30. Knocks Rubino down at just 12. Beautiful play by Mihu.
That is just as good as it gets. Rollin is going to get caught by Config, however, and that is just brutal. Config getting a good read on the situation, assuming that somebody was going to be in underpass there to cover Mihu's back. And Spero now, he's in connector, and he needs to be real careful about how he takes this. Config with the nade in his hand gets a lucky break. Spero not able to hit the shot. So we're still in a 3-on-2 scenario here for Dignitas. And in the meantime, while all this has been happening, Magisk has worked his way out on the B site. And so Furlan, he's in a bit of a tight spot here. If he works his way out here and looks the wrong way, he could get caught for free. Oop.
And that's exactly what happens. So Spero now 1-on-3. I think, honestly, there's half a mind to just save. You've got 20 seconds left, no real hopes on retaking. Maybe that will bait him into it now that he's got a second kill.
I think now in a 1v2, you go for it.
Especially if they call that Rubino must be low. Because that's Spero Mihu, he must realize that he hit Rubino quite a bit. But I guess at this point, it's one of those kind of situations.
Well, he doesn't have a kit. The question is whether Furlan had a kit when he got onto that site and died with it. But this is, okay, there's the kit, but this is taking quite a bit. This is too long now.
Yeah.
Now you got to back off and try and save the gun, unfortunately for himself. I mean, him getting that kill on Config so quickly, I think would have given him a chance if he'd have played very fast and just moved up quickly to pick up the bomb. Or rather, to get up onto short and try and challenge the site. But without the kit, he just hesitated quite a bit there. He's going to get lucky and actually save that AWP, which is a nice find, actually, all things considered.
Yeah, to get a couple of exit frags and also pick up Yorp is not bad at all. And of course, this is the second round in a row that Dignitas have survived with just one player. The one before was Cajun B, so a couple of their players aren't necessarily looking too healthy. In actual fact, it's only Magisk that has any kinds of funds going into this, so they're on eggshells themselves, although Kinguin, it's pretty much just pistols and a saved AWP, so they're going to have to make this work with Spero.
I will say Spero. Where have they decided to put him? He's actually connector looking mid, and this is an excellent play here. Great decision from Dignitas. They're going to just rush the B site, no respect whatsoever. Magisk leading the way with that MAC-10. He's going to get some damage, but MSL gets caught, and Furlan able to pick up 2 kills. Beautiful work there, but it's still a man advantage here for Dignitas with the bomb planted, and there really is no reason at this point now for Spero to risk losing this AWP, and he is going to back off and save it. So very well played, and this is going to tie things up at 3-3 now. Dignitas on that T side. Bit of a rough start there losing the pistol, but they've certainly come back after Cajun's clutch.
Yeah, it certainly hasn't been the most convincing performance, but of course, again, with it being the first game of the day, maybe it's going to be a case of them just warming up as time goes on. And after going 3-0 behind, they have managed to claw it back. And now Kinguin, Mazinho may look for an exit frag. I mean, there's no reason to save that USP, and his teammate's already safe. So yeah, he's going to be looking on short. Unfortunately for his perspective, though, Dignitas is saving through B-apps. He's not going to find any luck there. So 3-3, Sam. It's all back even again. Now this is where you expect Dignitas to just start to steamroll ahead.
Yeah, that is kind of it. I mean, Mauzinho saves that UMP, so he's got that to go off of. It means that Rollin is going to be able to get a full buy with the kit, incendiary, everything. But then the rest of them, Mihu, Furlan, and Mauzinho, kind of low. But this is one of those make or break rounds, basically, for Kinguin. They need to put a stop, need to halt Dignitas here in this round. Otherwise, Dignitas are going to start just steamrolling him to the right. So smoke, that short smoke goes down very quick. Nice timing with the HE, but it's just going to be a little bit too early. MSL, patient. And that opens it up for Dignitas to get mid control.
Yeah, they were saying this on the desk before, that Dignitas do love to get mid control wherever possible. And that has certainly been the case so far. Even in the rounds where they had just pistols, they were trying to force their will, impose their will on Kinguin. And again, ladder room seems to be a position that Kinguin like to use. We saw Config getting a couple frags from there earlier on. Does have his sights trained into connector. The smoke is going to stop him for now. But Furlan is down extremely low, down to 16, but still gets the frag. Manages to navigate his way through the sea of Molotov that's just underneath him. MSL will finally put him to rest. And a 1-for-1 trade, and now a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Dignitas is going to look very pretty indeed.
That was a great read on MSL's part, not allowing Furlan to get out of there scot-free. MSL stomping around in ladder room, and this is scary because he has the bomb. He has no idea that Rollin is holding so close, and it did look like they wanted to try and go through the smoke, but there it is. Rollin not going to find the second kill. Instead, it's Config to trade 1-for-1, and that favors Dignitas, although Rubino making a lot of noise here, trying to get his flank going towards Kitchen.
Well, I'm still not planted just yet, taking it slow and steady, and definitely the correct decision because Sparrow's there, not too far off from the flick. But it's not going to connect, and he loses a lot of health for his trouble. So they actually collectively have under 20 health between him and Mauzinho, and as a result, they will be tapping out. It's intelligent play by Kinguin. It gives them a decent buy into the next round, or at least something to work off, but you better believe that Dignitas will be breathing down their necks. Rubino's going in for the kill here.
He's going to try and hunt. Tough scenario. Good positioning, actually, there. I believe that was Mauzinho taking that challenge. And now they're boxed in, so this is where it gets a little bit tricky because Config has got that incendiary. If he can get it close enough, and he is going to put it behind the box, but that's not where they're playing from. Sparrow going to pick off Rubino, but Config, and he is not going to find the both kills. Instead, Mauzinho lays him low, making it that much more expensive for Dignitas. But it is important for Dignitas to actually break the economy there. There's only Sparrow with really any kind of money, although they are going to still go for the buy. Okay, then. He didn't waste any time at all. Was that him jumping ahead? Because the rest of his teammates pretty much had like 3,000.
Yeah, that's a bit of a head-scratcher moment. So they're going to go for a force. I mean, it is assault rifles with the SMG, but Rollin's on a glass cannon. Not too many names to play with, just the one kit. I think some teams may very well have tapped out and just gone for a half buy there.
Yeah.
But Kinguin, they're going all in on this round.
Yeah, this is just a little bit scary. I suppose it is just one of those situations where, okay, if you lose a sight, then the rest of them save. You try and get something rolling that way. But at one point, do you start discussing, okay, is it good to just go for the hard reset here and get that full buy, get all the nades, and go for some kind of strategy that we know will work, right, that we're confident in when we have all the utility for it? Dignitas right now should be just laughing. They should be very pleased with the scenario. MSL, he's got the MAC-10 just in case they did go for the half buy or the eco. But he can throw himself in there first, sack himself, give the info over to his teammates who are all fully equipped. And it is looking like a smoke round onto A now.
Yeah, and this is where the lack of Kevlar's really potentially going to sting Kinguin when that MAC-10 comes in. But Sparrow, perfect flashbang landing in the eyes of multiple Dignitas members. Now the spray coming into effect. Dignitas are incredibly low. Config and MSL not too far away from the grave. And Mihu will dig one step closer towards this round, going the way of Kinguin. They have lost 3 players. Maybe MSL still has it within him to get a clutch. He's got plenty of time left. And the bomb down around ramp. The 2 CTs are isolated from one another, but Rollin can have the cross with the AWP. So you definitely favor Kinguin to finish what they started here.
Especially because MSL only has the UMP. If he had any kind of firepower, this could have been interesting, but Mihu's going to get the drop on him.
4 kills for Mihu as well. Very nicely done.
Very nice, exactly. That was all off of that flash, too. $200 investment. Flash goes off perfectly. Mihu is there to jump on it. They couldn't have asked for a better situation there for Kinguin, especially because of the buy that we were looking at there, where they really just didn't have a whole lot to work with. They were very low on utility. Doesn't matter. One single flash. Dignitas, they had 3 players that ate it, and, well, that completely changed the round. Now it's Dignitas who are the ones trying to manage their economy. 2 AKs to work with, 3 pistols. So
I wonder from the way that Dignitas came into this round if they were completely caught off guard by that buy. I mean, we saw the MAC-10 come in. We saw them briskly move through ramp, and instantly they were getting shut down. So I'm like, hold on a second, they actually bought in this round. Cage in the meanwhile, though, will make short work of Sparrow with a precise headshot, but Roland answers back with the AWP on the other side of the map on B. Dignitas look like they are going to be moving on to A, though. They've got a lot of real estate out onto the site with very little confrontation.
They have no utility to work with now, though, so it's going to be a matter of just throwing somebody in there. And MSL, that's perfect. He gets the drop on Mihu, and now Mauzinho, he gets the headshot on MSL, and they're just going to charge right in. Finally, the trade comes through. They do have one AK still alive, and Rubino going to be able to get that bomb plant. His teammate, Cajun B, is in position to watch his back as well. Gets eyes on jungle. But they're deciding to split up here, Kinguin. We're going to have to see, can Furlan get into a position where he can catch out Rubino? What a shot from Rubino, though.
Man is nuts. Here comes the Incendiary. It's going to force him out into position, but Furlan can't really do a great deal with the UMP at that kind of a range. He's going to have to get closer. Almost spoiled for choice, and he's going to pick up the A4. Smoking the cross, just in case someone is in ramp. I think he did just catch a glimpse of Cajun B peeking out of Palace, so he knows where at least he is, but the bomb is ticking down ever so quickly. There's the first one, and Cajun playing smartly, going to be saving himself from getting picked off. Very intelligent play, playing the time perfectly. Dignitas will claim the round.
Fantastic work still from Kinguin. They just tried to hold on, but Dignitas, that time around, it was just a series of fantastic shots, I think. The opener that just annihilates Sparrow on stairs. MSL charging forward as well, managing to catch the man out of jungle. It was just a bunch of duels that went Dignitas' way that round, unfortunately, for Kinguin.
Yeah, I think that key frag was the one onto CT box. Was it Config? I'm not entirely sure who it was, but he absolutely wrecked somebody with the AK-47 in like a 3-on-3, 2v2 scenario. So that could have very well been the determining factor. Now Kinguin back into the round.
They're just looking for a brawl now.
Jeez, they're force bought again.
Yeah, they're just looking for a brawl. They're like, all right, boys, everybody's winning force buys, so we're just going to keep trying. It is going to be the force buy for Kinguin here. 5-4, Dignitas in the lead, still on that T side of Mirage. Kinguin not willing to give up just yet. There's the flash, there's the opening. MSL, great spray, takes down Furlan, but there's still a man close on short. He does have a teammate watching his back, however, and that will be Cajun B to pick up the kill, and the following one on Rollin.
Very nicely done. Again, though, Kinguin coming into this round with very little, so can't be too surprised. Sparrow is going to get executed. MSL not going to show any mercy whatsoever. Mauzinho, the last remaining player, not really a great deal of hope coming through for him. In the next round, could potentially see an eco. I mean, the way Kinguin have been playing, it wouldn't surprise me if they did go for force buy, but surely it's the eco here, boys.
Is this 2014 again?
Are we watching Mortal Kombat?
I mean,
E-Frag team, Bulgarians who force buy every single round on the CT side.
I'm just wondering, you know, Kinguin, if Dignitas, like, all right, this is the question, right? If Dignitas, they got completely slapped and potentially caught off guard, you're right, when they went for their standard execute onto A, I'm wondering if Dignitas are just going to keep trying to throw chaos rounds out there and say, all right, well, if we can't do the standard, then we're just going to look for fights all over the place. Not a big fan of config hunting alone like this. It's just donates an AK. Great, here, have it. We've seen hero AKs in the past completely turn rounds, so that's a little bit unfortunate config. You didn't need to hunt, but what are you gonna do?
And it also, I mean, I'm trying to look at the positives here. Forever the optimist. It also gives Rollin a CZ, so they get 2 power plays maybe out of this, because obviously Mauzinho can drop his CZ to him. So who knows? Obviously, you're expecting Dignitas to still walk away with this round. But if that AK and the CZ do come good, then it could have all been off the back of that greedy play.
This could be fun, though. I mean, it seems like they're trying to set a trap and connector right now, Kinguin. 6-4 the lead for Dignitas. But Kinguin right now trying to find some kind of angle here. Although, no, it looks like Sparrow fell back. I thought there would be like some kind of trade where they're going to allow Mauzinho, they're going to sack Sparrow and then allow Mauzinho to try and pounce on that. But it's not going to happen. Config working his way up from underpass. Not quite finding a target just yet, but it may happen in a moment. 2 players are holding window right now for Kinguin. Interesting.
You're almost forced into a position to go for these double, triple stacks when you've got these kind of weapons in your hand, and Dignitas are just so much better when it comes to individual talent. Config reading the situation perfectly. Mauzinho didn't stand a chance. And that should open up the floodgates. I say that, but Mihu from behind, and alongside Sparrow and Furlan will be backing themselves a few kills. Out goes Rollin head first, and he will get instantly put out of his misery. And now Mihu with an AWP is going to start to rain down from mid boxes. Config sprays on point. And Dignitas did lose 3 players, but again, they navigate their way through the round to take a 7-4 lead.
Jeez, Config, that takes some, that's some chutzpah right there, man. It's not like, ah, you got an off, right? Okay, I'm just gonna spray at you, pre-fire it. What is that? All right, then Config, he's definitely showing up. He's got 11 kills right now, top fragging. That was very cool stuff though from Kinguin, right? You know, you gotta go for the brave play. They just decided to collapse on mid, and they came so close to actually pulling it off. But again, a very expensive round for Dignitas. What's fun is that neither of these teams is really decisively winning rounds. They're all winding up with 1 or 2 players surviving, so neither team is really developing that monster bank that would allow them to just roll eternally. Fireland and Sparrow are going to start things off. 2 kills for them as Dignitas once again going for that quick connector onto A play. And Magus finds the first kill. Little does he know, Sparrow is waiting right around the corner in jungle.
Sparrow incredibly low as well, but still lands the shot point blank. In the meanwhile, to put Cajun.B into a clutch. There's the first one. 2 more to find and frag. He knows there's another player. It's going to be Sparrow hiding around the jungle. He's going to land this all and rolling right now. He's going to peek around at the perfect second and put Cajun.B down. The heroics were there. Not quite able to execute through, but Kinguin, again, as you said before, it's a 1 round. Far from ideal, far from easy, and now they've just reset their round loss bonus and only keep 1 player alive. So if they were to lose this, I mean, Dignitas could very well get towards that 10-5 scoreline.
This is silly. I'm going back. There have been 3 rounds so far this game where either team has had 4 players alive. The rest of the rounds have all been just 1 and 2, 0. I mean, this is just scrappy CS, really. All right, well, let's see. Now, Dignitas, you've been rebuffed on that connector play so many times now. Curious to see if they're just going to decide to go for the short play instead, try and wrap over towards A, or are they just going to brute force it and try and really just force connector with everybody? 3 players in mid, very default kind of approach here from Dignitas so far, with Mihu looking to take advantage of that.
Up on the jump. The problem is that it gives this position away for free, and will get put down instantly. And there wasn't really a guaranteed kill there, so I'm not entirely sure why he went for that one. Regardless, though, Kinguin, even though they won that last round, they're so bare in terms of grenades. With 1 minute and 12 to play with, just a lone flashbang. Rollins going to go down next in window. He did bag himself a kill beforehand, but Dignitas will keep the player advantage and now push their way over towards B. And this is where a lack of utility is really going to sting for Kinguin. They may not even bother attempting this retake with Sparrow so low.
No, especially because they're about as far away as you can get. And so at this point, bomb has been planted. You save your guns. You do not really have much money to go for a force in the next round, but you might have to because you're gonna. I mean, right now it's been very streaky actually for Dignitas. The strong start for Kinguin with the pistol round, and then the 3 rounds total, but then 4 rounds in a row for Dignitas, reset by Kinguin. 3 rounds in a row for Dignitas, reset by Kinguin, and now we have Dignitas once again, who are winning the following round. Kinguin just cannot seem to chain rounds together.
Well, there's the issue as well, because so far we haven't really seen Kinguin win a great deal of rifle rounds. I think they've won, what, 2? And then the other one was when Dignitas kind of force bought.
Well, that was they also won their force, right?
Yeah. So it's been one of those kind of situations where if Kinguin didn't win the pistol, I mean, this could have been a very different sort of scoreline with Dignitas romping ahead. But as you called again, even the rounds that Dignitas have won, very few of them have been considerably easy. They've all gone down to the line. Again, Kinguin were in familiar territory where their economy is flat out broke. And just those 2 saved weapons from the previous round are going to be making an appearance in this one. And Sparrow is going to make his work, so maybe there is life left yet in Kinguin here on this off.
That's always super satisfying when you're looking into pit and you just managed to find that headshot. Very nicely done there. So that's config gone. Malzinho still has control of connector, or rather of window right now, in the ladder room. 4 now for Kinguin. But Cajun, he's betting, and he's going to miss the shot. He puts it straight into the wall. That is so frustrating for Cajun. Feel good start for Sparrow. Cajun just going to be kicking himself. He had to read perfectly. He just misses the shot completely.
And now he's incredibly low, and that plays into the wheelhouse of the likes of the P250. 1 stray bullet from any gun really will finish him. Plus, they've picked up an extra assault rifle from the corpse of Config. So this is starting to shape up pretty nicely for the Poles. Under a minute to play with as well for Dignitas. So they're going to have to start to get a move on. A whole bunch of nades are coming down in mid-Sparrow. We'll let a couple of players go by, but it seems to be Kinguin that are taking a stranglehold over this round as Mihu lands a 1-dig. And that will just leave Rubino and MSL by themselves. They have both been playing very well so far, so you definitely can't write them off.
Furlan needs to stay alive as best he can right now. Allow for Rollin to rotate over. They have the man coming into short late. Rollin's going to get the drop on him. Perfectly done. Takes down one. Rubino still alive. However, in a 1v2, decides to challenge Rollin. He'll win that duel. And with 25 seconds left, he actually has some options here. It's going to be that flash into plant. Not wasting much time at all. Now, excuse me, the game is in Sparrow's hands.
The only thing here for Sparrow is, with Rubino low, it may not matter if Sparrow misses his shot. That could be all he gets out of this one. As he only has an AWP, but he's going to connect, and Kinguin will pick up 6th. So a solid round, and keep in mind that was an AWP but an M4 they came into that round with his pistols, and they've taken it home.
Yeah, this is very chaotic for both teams right now. A bit tough to get a read on the situation when teams are winning rounds that they really shouldn't, right? You know, kind of hard to because there should be an ebb and flow, right, where, you know, the team that is winning buy rounds, rifle rounds, they should be keeping control. They should be dealing with these anti-eco situations, except that both teams, when they're forcing or when they're on ecos, seem to be able to do so much damage to the other. Kinguin up to 6 rounds now. Dignitas in the lead with 8, and we're into the 15th round, where once again it's Dignitas forcing this time. 4 rifles for them, and Cajun be on the Tech 9. And a very quick mid-take, but Sparrow hangs around just long enough to find the kill on Cajun. Problem is, that was the man with the Tech 9. There are still rifles in play here for Dignitas.
Sparrow's having none of it. Second frag as well. Rubino comes in with 2 of his own alongside Config, and that's Config chiming in for a second. Dignitas, just when they look like they're dead and buried, won't go down, but the pendulum of Counter-Strike continues to go back and forth. Now Dignitas losing players. Menches finally comes up with another kill. Now it's all on wall, and bomb's been planted. He's going to have to traverse through the smoke, going to pop flash his way out there. He's going to walk straight past one of the Dignitas members, and he will be put down for a 9-6 half. It was an odd one, to say the least, that half of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, no, I'm stumped. It's just, that's the frustrating thing when you have those sorts of scenarios where a team just, like both teams, couldn't handle the anti-eco scenarios, and then it really just breaks the flow of the game, and it makes it a bit chaotic. Still, Dignitas come out ahead, 9-6, pretty much the expected scoreline, I think. And what I'm wondering now, I don't have a talkback button, so I can't actually communicate with production, unfortunately, so that's the issue, I think. Well, what I'm wondering now is basically, is there going to be a break or not, but I guess not. So, I mean, what are you thinking about it?
I think Dignitas, obviously, were favorites to go through at halftime and indeed finish this map ahead. I don't think anyone would really doubt that. The way they've got here, though, has been far from convincing for me personally. I think, you know, sure, maybe the first day syndrome is kicking in a little bit, the first map, the first match of CS here, but it hasn't been the sort of Dignitas that we've seen in recent memory. It hasn't been that very steamroll-centric Dignitas. But maybe the CT side is going to show itself a little bit more here. And take nothing away from Kinguin. I mean, they did play pretty solidly there. They had a couple of sick individual performances, a couple of big clutch moments. So they definitely could still take Dignitas to the wire here.
Certainly, certainly. Dignitas now, though, on the CT side. This is where, oh, the aggression from Rubino. He's going to get caught. He does get spotted. Sparrow putting some shots through. Let's say Rubino not willing to back off without a fight. He is going to attempt one pick at least. Still, MSL is the only man over here on the B side for Dignitas. This is about to get hairy, and he gets picked off. Caught out in the open, and that's a free bomb site now for Kinguin. Excellent work.
It sure is, and it's quite reminiscent of that last pistol round as well. This is where Kinguin started to connect all the headshots. Mihu with the next one. Sparrow goes down. Rubino's also low, and they have no grenades to come back on the site with, so it's going to have to come down to those raw entries back onto the site. Mihu's having none of it. Point blank range will dispatch. Oh my goodness. Furlan with 2 beautiful kills at the end, and Kinguin have won both pistols, and that's going to put them in shape now to take us back to a potential 9-9 score.
Exactly right. We could actually have it tie up. Now they just have to figure out, Kinguin, how to win rifle rounds. Because what? 4 of the rounds that they win now, well, basically, we could have a full 6 of the rounds that they've won total on this map are due to pistol wins.
Yep.
Now figure out how to get the rifles, boys. Let's go. Like, you need to start locking it down versus Dignitas. And Dignitas, they are not going to be taking any risks. Look at this. They go just pistols. Only Magisk is going to go for the Kevlar, and then he skims by going for the P250 instead of the Deagle. So they are trying to manage their economy here. Dignitas thinking about that 19th round.
And the other worrying thing for Kinguin as well, as he said, most of their rounds were off pistols. That's when they were able to stack positions and effectively say, come out as pros. As I'm speaking, Mihu comes in with a pretty nice one-tap there. Well, it's kind of a spray more than anything else. Cajun's the next player to fall. But when you roll reverse, actually, hold on. MSL could pull off a pretty big play here. They're not going to check the position. There's the first one. Going to be trying to change his aim towards Rallen, who gets put down by Rubino. And I'm just going to be coming through the T-spawns. So what I was going to say is now that roles are reversed, Kinguin have to be the aggressors. They can't rely on just stacking together and just out-timing Dignitas. And for me, that should be a bridge too far.
Yeah, they're going to have to be crisp on theirs because we're going to have to see how much time they've had to work with. Lord is still their coach as well, and he's definitely involved in the tactical process, getting this team up to snuff to go up against the likes of Dignitas. But now it's whether all the practice is going to pay off and whether they're going to be able to execute, rather, on that prac, because they're going to have full buys going into these next couple of rounds. And so they'll have all the grenades. It'll be fun to see what decision Kinguin make when they have all the utility on this T side of Mirage.
Just waiting for a potential rifle to come his way, maybe take a couple of them away from the terrorists, who do all get love tapped by the bomb, but he's not able to capitalize on that. So move one step closer to taking us back to even. Dignitas won't have a great deal through into this round.
No, they decide, I mean, again, they made it pretty evident, right, that they are focusing on that 19th round. So 9-8, Dignitas still in the lead, but it is going to be just pistols, P250s here for Dignitas across the board. They're still giving themselves some work, some room to work with, but apart from that, let's see, Malzinho to start things off, and this should be a very clear-cut, straightforward sort of round here.
Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if we see more than just one player die. Rubino's done a lot of damage though in mid. Lands a headshot onto Mihu pushing through the smoke and does land a couple shots onto a second player. Back 10 in, 2 players fall prey. 9-9. Dignitas will have a decent buy in the next round though. As he highlighted, it was really about this 19th round. They were okay with the other ones. They were expendable rounds. Will Furlan keep that Mach 10? I'm just curious. He does have enough, obviously, more than enough to traverse across to an AK, but he's going to keep it. So really the only player that could be susceptible is Rubino, who doesn't have head armor.
Yeah, 2 SMGs, in fact, kept. Was looking for some early aggression into mid, perhaps, here, but it's not going to be the case. Sparrow did actually set up to counter that. They have the short smoke down as well here for Kinguin. And instead, that bomb over in B halls. So I thought they were going to go for a default kind of spread here, Kinguin, but instead they're going for a strategy that they've already used so far on this T half. It's going to be just the bomb rush onto B site with Sparrow lurking in mid to try and pick off the rotator. It's a question of whether Dignitas can recognize that or not, because they have 0 mid presence right now, Dignitas. They have no information to go off of. Config is the only man who can try and tell them what's happening over here.
They've heard a couple of bullets whizzing by and a molly, so Kinguin are basically showing their hand. They're telegraphing this push. Once again, MSL in the same position that he landed a dig earlier. He is able to just spray down. Maybe doesn't do quite as well as he was hoping, but still the 1 kill and some damage onto a couple more players. Config gonna wait for cavalry to arrive. Cajun is here, and just will be coming through from the CT side, but it seems that Dignitas are playing the slower game. They're not interested. They will back away.
They're going to back away, save those 3 guns. That'll allow them to go for a buy again if they do survive this round with all 3 alive. I imagine that Kinguin, they shouldn't want to hunt too hard. Let them save the guns. That was about as clean as it could get. I mean, it was a lucky break for MSL for him to pick up that second, or to pick up the kill at all. He really should have died, especially considering he took that fight with 50 HP. So, I mean, there we go. Sparrow, just back off, save your gun. No need to be greedy here. Continue to build your economy. That's the important part right now. Build your economy. Count on your strats to carry you through. Because that worked. I mean, what I'm curious about is MSL only got the 1, and then Rubino got obliterated. And I think that's the main thing. You got to be looking at Rubino right there to be able to actually trade 1-for-1 as well and give his teammates a chance. The fact that he goes down with nothing pretty much ends the round right there for Dignitas.
Yeah. It puts a lot of pressure on the rest of his team to try and retake. But the good news for Kinguin, we were wondering, how is their rifle rounds going to look on the T side? Well, that's 1-for-1 so far. Yeah,
you're right. Pretty crisp. They are going to be able to get a buy here, Dignitas, but again, exactly the same scenario here for Dignitas as in the last round. Config, Maggie's boy, Cajun B sitting on the A side, Rubino playing short, and MSL playing towards B apartments. But this is Dignitas' default, but it has very little involvement on mid. It's only Config who's kind of peeking around, hoping to get lucky, and he's not going to spot anything.
I'm curious as well if Dignitas will start to show more presence on mids if Kinguin continue to do this. MSL point blank range to get 1 and a second! Had no right to get 2 from this position. And with the smoke, this allows him now to play some mind games. Meanwhile, Malzinho feels forced to force his way out of Palace, and it will be into the embracing arms of more Dig members. But MSL are pretty much single-handedly just stopped this round.
Yeah, they've shut it down. That's MSL. just the plays from him. Such a difficult situation for Kinguin. Maybe they thought his footsteps were coming from short. They didn't realize he was so close. They did get that flash in there, but just brutal. Now they're getting picked apart, and this is a fantastic round now for Dignitas. This will definitely, build some confidence for them and get that economy rolling for them here in the second half. 9-10, Kinguin in the lead, and this should tie it up at 10-10 now for Dignitas with that bomb dropped.
Yeah, it's very hard to see how Sparrow gets really anything out of this round, and down he will go. Config will get Dignitas to a 10th round, so Kinguin will stumble in their second rifle rounds. Defense, and this is the MSL play. Like, fair enough, you get the first kill, but then to get Mihu as well, that's nuts.
Rollin might have jumped the gun there a little bit, or it's one or the other. It's either Rollin jumped the gun and tried to take the fight early without his teammate being right behind him, or it was Mihu who was slow and was supposed to be on Rollin's butt and wasn't there. But that's poor spacing there, unfortunately, for Kinguin. Because if they go in together, there's no way that MSL gets both, right? And they can still proceed from there. Tough. All in the details here. Tied up 10-10. And now, well, Sparrow in mid hunting for a target, hungry for a fight. He's not going to find it just yet. Although there is Config once again pushed up in connector. He's not going to give that target over. Rubino and Cajun, though, might set themselves up for some shenanigans here towards window ladder room.
Config did just get narrowly scraped by the Molotov, so he's going to back away from his position, as Kinguin would have heard that. So, again, slow, safe play. Kinguin, minute and 5 left on the board. 3 members strong in Palace. So they're going to be looking to burst out of there. The bomb planter, or potential bomb planter of Rowland is one of the 3. And there's Verlon with the first kill of the round. Config comes back for 1, but there's too many angles for him to cover off. And down he will go. Cajun B takes down Mihu and gets the second one. Huge play.
Unbelievable.
Again.
How does he get that second kill, Cajun? That's disgusting. That actually ruins it now. Kinguin, they're just going to need the shots, but the triangle is closing in on them. They're going to have to worry about 3 different angles. That smoke will clear here in a few seconds. That's going to give Cajun eyes on the site. And they have the long lurk coming in from MSL. Looks like he's been figured out, though. They did look. Sparrow did go back to check, but he's going to get shot in the back instead. The timing doesn't work out, and that opens it up for MSL to get both kills. 2 kits on Dignitas as well. Ample time for the defuse, and that's the lead now for Dignitas, 11-10. But a solid defense, I have to say, a solid defense. For having very little warning as to what was coming, that was a solid defense on the A site. Each member who took the fight to begin with traded 1 for 1. And so it didn't allow for Kinguin to get the man advantage. It basically set it up for Dignitas. And then you have that added spice of Cajun B picking up that second kill.
Yeah, it was a pretty sick play onto Shadow. I think it was Config who's on the staircase who got the 1-for-1 trade. There's like 2 or 3 angles that he was trying to watch simultaneously, so very well played by him. Kinguin will be right back into another rifle round, including an AWP alongside Cajun. I believe this is his first AWP he's done on the CT side thus far. So see how this one works out for him. MSL is forced out of position as the Molotov just lands on the little balcony, and Sparrow misses out on the flick shot.
Yeah, I do like that from Sparrow, though. He is hunting for MSL in that spot. MSL shown that he likes to play up on balcony so far. Did it in the pistol, did it in the rush B round. And so Sparrow hoping to get lucky and catch MSL in a pattern, but that was not the case this time around. And so now, well, things get interesting again here because Dignitas once again have very little idea of what's going on in mid. And you can see Furlan taking advantage of this. This Config now kind of has to worry. He has to hope that somebody's going to get greedy and run through that smoke, but he might have to back off from this position in a second. As soon as that smoke clears, he becomes a little bit vulnerable.
I like that Magistica's gone fairly aggressively in ramp, though. He's going to make sure that if the onslaught does come through and Config dies, he can at least be a pain in the backside from the ramp side. And he may very well find Marzinho any second now. And the Shadow will betray Marzinho. It does a lot of damage, though, to Majist, actually a lot more than I thought he would. But the kill will go the way of Dignitas nonetheless. 30 seconds left, and Kinguin still haven't fully decided where they're going to go. I think now they have made a decision as the bomb scurries its way through the T side onto ramp.
Yeah, they're probably just going off the fact that Magisk is low. Nice incendiary, that's going to force him out and actually kill him. And there's Sparrow finding the pick on Config just like that. Based on the information, Kinguin are able to just capitalize on it. That leaves 3 players over by the B side. Dignitas also trying to, it looked like, figure out that Kinguin might go back to that B side. Kinguin have been showing a bit of a tendency so far to put a presence towards B. I'm not a fan of playing like Firebox like that, though. That is a little bit scary.
Especially when you're so low. It's just almost asking to be mollied. I mean, there's the reason it's called Firebox in the first place. MSL is going to get another one for Dignitas, but this round kind of came out of nowhere. I was thinking, okay, it's 30 seconds left. You've got Kinguin at a deficit. This is looking great. And then suddenly Sparrow comes through with an AWP shot and the round's back on. And Kinguin sneaking out somehow. 22 and 15, Mihu is currently on. Very well played. 5 assists on top of that as well.
Now, Dignitas need to get their head in the game here because they're coming in as the clear favorites, I think, for this tournament. And that might be messing with them a little bit. They aren't used to that, right? You know, you're not exactly used to it if you're Dignitas. You haven't been around at, you know, at the top of the scene for very long. You're coming into a tournament here where really you should be the clear favorite to win the whole thing, and they definitely have to know it. So we might be seeing Dignitas, you know, having to adapt a little bit in the mindset right now on the fly versus a team that they really should just be kind of powering through. Although we have to give credit to Kinguin. They are hitting a very high level right now. Look at this quick execute onto A site. It's completely catching Dignitas off guard.
Yeah, Dignitas almost setting their feet in for a more steady round. They are getting kills, though, and keeps them in the round for a little while longer. MSL darting his way through onto the jungle side. Meanwhile, Cajun wrapping himself, but this could very well end badly. Mihu's waiting with the AK, and that's the round pretty much done. They're hoping Cajun can maybe sneak his way around into ramp side, try and get some shenanigans underway, but MSL, in credit to him, is keeping himself in this round. He's not too interested in going for the save. They go for the smoke onto the site and hold down, but there is Sparrow. Surprise.
Point blank.
Yeah, that's going to definitely leave a mark. 12 to 11 in the lead, and okay, we're going to have a match pause in.
There we go.
Tactical timeout.
There's the timeout. Okay. And so that's interesting, the fact that Dignitas now, they realize we need to take a little bit of a break. And actually, no, it's not even Dignitas. Are you kidding me? If we could get eyes on Kinguin right now, that would be interesting. Just because, is this actually like a timeout because Furlan really needed to use the restroom? Or are they trolling us? It's not even like a tactical timeout.
Yeah,
nope, yep, their seat is empty. Are you kidding? Really, dude? All right, then. Yeah. Players actually using the restroom right now. Don't get to see that too often. I mean, it kind of allows for a discussion to happen with the teammates, but then they'd have to fill him in on like what was discussed.
What happens though? Because like you've only got a limited amount of time if he hasn't got his business done. Just what, pees himself?
I mean, he's still a young player. You know, not gonna have too much trouble with the stream, I think, right now. But be sure to check out Movember as well. Good cause. Yeah, no, I mean, this kind of works out in favor of Dignitas. Actually, I thought that they were the ones who were calling for the tactical timeout, just because they need to have a little bit of time to sit and think and get their heads into this, because they're at 12-11. They just had their economy reset again. And they're going to have to go for a half buy in this round because they don't have the money to go for a full buy or a very effective force. So they're going to allow Kinguin to get up to 13 rounds unless there's something magical that happens here in this round, Dignitas.
I was totally alongside you there. I was thinking, okay, Dignitas will call the pause. They're going to try and wrap their heads together, get some of that momentum away from Kinguin. But no, wasn't to be. 15 seconds. Kinguin got to get a move on, Furlan. He's still not back at his desk.
And the admin is probably just saying, hey, if he isn't back, yeah, it's ticking down. It's ticking down. That's it. Countdown has begun, and yeah, there's the actual piece. Yeah, 30 seconds more.
There he is.
There it is. He's running. He's running. We got him. At least he wasn't walking back, you know, like taking his time or anything. Yeah, he was actually running. Okay, then.
Just chilling. There we go. He's back and ready to rock, and his team currently 12-11 up. This would be an upset. There's no two ways about it. Dignitas coming in. Normally, I guess their trajectory towards 4th place has been unreal when you think of where they were at the start of this year. Completely out of that kind of a race. And as you said, this is one of the first times, I think, coming into an event, they are the firm favorites. Does that mess with their heads? We'll have to wait and see. Dignitas with a half buy. Again, though, we have seen them trump with this kind of a buy before. So I'm not going to write them off, but Kinguin surely stepping one foot closer.
I mean, it's pretty much the story of the first half, right? These teams were just winning half buys, winning eco rounds, just like all over the place. So it's a very chaotic first half, but so far in this second half, I mean, Kinguin, they won both pistols, and in this second half, it really has been the Kinguin show. 2 rounds picked up for Dignitas, but that's it. It's been 2 rounds in a row here for Kinguin, soon to be a third as well, or at least it should be a third.
This would be a huge fumble if they can't pick this round up, that's for sure. And if they do, they're in a commanding position. But there's Rubino with the CZ. Able to get the kill and retreat away. Downside for Dignitas, they can't pick up the fallen weapon. And now Sparrow comes in with his own kill into MSL. Cajun in a position that MSL has played a couple of times that could mess with Kinguin if they don't check this position. And Cajun will put down one, not able to get a second. And you'd think this war of attrition will go the way of Kinguin, but now it's down to a 1v1. Magist comes out through the B-apps. But unfortunately for Dignitas, he is unsuccessful, 13-11.
Oh man, unfortunately for him, it's just poor positioning. He was hoping that perhaps the Kinguin player was around the pillar or something. He had a little bit of room to maneuver with, getting out of the apartments. He'd have tried to go for the mind games with that 5-7, but didn't happen. And so, but what are these rounds? For a second there, I'm thinking, okay, well, they've got the buddy system. They're trading effectively. Still trading against pistols, of course, but still down to a 1v1 scenario. Config, though, this round, he's actually going to get that peek into mid, and he catches Furlan. So a very early man advantage here for Dignitas to start things off. Another smoke going down, and they're continuing to challenge. This time it's Cajun B with the AWP, and it's actually going to pay off. He finds Mihu.
Yeah, I noticed the little gap in the smoke and made the most of it. And he's quite safe as well, because there's a smoke right next to him that was blocking off connector side in case there's any pesky terrorists coming up through underpass. So I like that he goes for that aggression, and now with a 2-player buffer, you've got to assume that Dignitas don't let this one slip.
No, that should be an impossible scenario now for Dignitas to lose. Magisk is still hunting. Look at this. Really? And he wins that duel. Rollin must be kicking himself there. That should have been like on a platter. Magisk with the second kill on Mouse. How is he getting these kills? Now we're starting to see that quality of Magisk. But you do get the feeling that he would have got punished if he was up against a tier 1 player.
Absolutely. Yeah, we pretty much took the words right out of my mouth there. He fumbled the jump a little bit. I don't know if that played mind games with Kinguin, though, if they thought maybe he'd hopped across to the ledge. But doesn't really make a great deal of difference. Sparrow is still the last player left against 5 Dignitas members, and he is just trying his best to maybe get a kill or 2 and save. The bomb's in a horrific position as well to try and reclaim, so there's really no hope of him getting anything out of this round. Just the AWP would be good enough.
30 seconds. 20 seconds now, actually. And you're right. I mean, he's crossing his fingers and hoping. I don't think that Dignitas should be aggressive, like overly aggressive, trying to hunt for this either. You know, if he survives with this AWP, it's all right. Leg shot there from Cajun. Is this real? Sparrow will get caught. And they eventually just chase it down. So now, do they actually hold on to both AWPs here? That would be an interesting turn of events for Dignitas, and they do. Cajun and Rubino. Rubino, a competent opper. So it's not the end of the world. We have seen double op on Mirage before. But this is still, I mean, this is still touch and go here for Dignitas. 12 rounds for them, 13 for Kinguin.
And now it's Kinguin's turn to feel the economic sting. They're into really not a great deal. They've got a Tech 9 and armor. We know how powerful that can be in the right hands. P250s and quite a few nades accompanying it. So I assume it's going to be an A hit. Dignitas surely are a step ahead. They're going to go for hyper aggression through mid. And when they find nothing coming up, that should give them a couple of clues as to what's happening. The downside of Dignitas is they haven't pushed anyone through B-apps. If they had, I'm almost guaranteed that they would now be stacking the A site instead, which they're going to go for. That flashbang keeps Kinguin at bay for a few more moments. It seems Dignitas are now reading the situation perfectly.
Yeah, there's the first peek by Config. Shouldn't overextend. He is at risk, after all, with enough pistols in the fight. Exactly, they'll hit that headshot eventually. But in the meantime, he's done the damage. He's given space to Magispor to get into the fight as well. So Magis moving forward. Gonna find the one and not the other. MSL will be there to trade. Still 2 losses there for Dignitas. I mean, if we, like, it's funny because you really just do have this tendency to think, like, but what would be the perfect play there? And the perfect play there is that Config doesn't just challenge for days on stairs, stays alive, forces them out into the angles that he's holding, and then they keep everything, they keep their economy super stable on Dignitas' side. That feels like a round where they shouldn't have lost anybody, you know? But still, they sacrificed 2 players, and so the economy takes a bit of a hit for Dignitas, tied 13-13 with Kinguin, and Kinguin have the money for a buy.
And the interesting thing here, Sam, they've gone for double ops. So not only did they lose some players, this is a very heavy investment into this round. If Kinguin were to win this, Dignitas are in a really sketchy position. They push one up mid, misses out on that shot, but really no one was home anyway. And now going to be backing on off. So Rubino's using his AWP, as we can see right now, in the B-app side. The other one's going to be hanging around mid. That's in the hands of Cajun B, who's now moving into kitchen.
MSL will have communicated that there was someone in underpass a second ago. He was on short as Furlan was running. But instead, it's going to be pressure in mid, and they are setting up for the B split here, Kinguin. They really do seem to favor that B site. The push, I mean, look, they can get clever about this. Right on the edge of that smoke, though. The smoke isn't pushed up far enough. Was wondering if they were going to go for the push. Instead, MSL's going to spot the man in ladder room and decides to back off, just stomping away. No time wasted at all. And Rubino changes it up. He can't catch a break. In the clutch, he looked away at the last second. Looked away at the wrong second, rather. And in this sort of scenario, he should have had the kill for free. He will still manage to pick one up. Going for the cold Zera, but he's not going to do it. Instead, it's with the P250, and that's not going to be good enough. Still, 3 players survive for Dignitas, and that puts them up on 14 rounds.
And they keep both up, so their economy is A-OK. Kinguin's, however, not quite the same. They're into another half bite. Full smokes, interesting. So I'm assuming some kind of an A hit is imminent, just to try and get a bomb plant. That's pretty much their mission. Expect to see Sparrow come up through underpass, and the rest of this team throw those smokes down. Thing is, when there's 2 AWPs in play, this kind of a buy can actually prove to be quite a terror for Dignitas, especially if behind these smokes, Kinguin can manage to get up close and personal. That's where the AWPs really do struggle.
Yeah, Magus isn't exactly in the best spot either. Because he's up here on the balcony, yes. If he can get some support from his teammates, and if for some reason Kinguin don't check up here, they will eventually get the kill. That was Mouse holding that angle. Config is on the site itself, and he's going to get caught due to that dropped AK. But yeah, Magus is in a scary spot versus Tech9s because they're just going to come running at him. So many targets, moving so quickly, it's hard to deal with.
This is exactly the situation that I was calling about. You get the smokes down, as soon as the bomb gets planted and those assault rifle players are dead, what do the AWPs do? I mean, they're kind of forced into a position of playing almost to the weapon's weaknesses, and what a call that is from Kinguin, realizing 2 AWPs would still be in play. Let's just hit A super fast with smokes. Minimal investment, and now Dignitas are screwed.
Yeah.
They've got a CZ, fairly weak buy. This could be Kinguin's golden ticket now.
Yeah, they have the chance, exactly. They do have the 3 rifles. They had enough for an AWP on Cajun. But it's still, if they lose this round, Dignitas, they're going to be in that forced buy scenario, right? And so there's a bit of pressure here on Kinguin to get the job done. We'll have to see if they can actually manage it.
MSL, different position. We've seen him up on the balcony a couple of times, but now up onto the chair.
Another one and done position, though, so this is a bit scary for him.
Very good point, especially considering he doesn't have any support. If they had a second player maybe up on the balcony or around the van, then he could potentially get a crossfire set. But he's all by himself. He's on an island right now.
Rubino in ladder room is nowhere near. So you're right, this is a bit scary. Kinguin once again going to hit that B side. MSL sees it coming. They're going to check the angle immediately. This time, no sloppiness from Kinguin. They're doing a fantastic job. All of the walls, the wall of smoke going down. Not a thing that Rubino can hope to do. Instead, he's going to take a bullet to the face. What fantastic work from Kinguin. That was perfect. And Rollin remembering the basics to check the angles. No chance for MSL. Mihu hunts down Cajun, and it's all on Magus now, but in a 1v5, he has no hope.
Is this really happening, Seb? Are we potentially about to see Dignitas lose their first map against Kinguin?
Upset. Well, you know, there we go. There we go. Let's go with the upset. Fantastic. I mean, that's really gonna put Dignitas on notice here, and I think it's gonna, you know, basically spice things up. If everything always goes according to plan, it's not very fun, is it?
And just trying his best to save this. Famas doing a lot of damage by himself. Valiant attempt, but still, the result is the same. Kinguin have a map point up against Dignitas in the first game of today, and indeed the tournament. And finally, we are going to see a tactical timeout called in the 30th round. Better late than never, I guess.
Why not? And it's a 2-minute timeout as well, just to keep that in mind. But, I mean, we have to actually kind of point out that Mihu has been doing some fantastic work so far. For not only is when they actually do go for the execute and there's no spacing issues, everything moves very well. I mean, Kinguin are looking excellent, but he's dropping 27 kills right now versus Dignitas. That's very fine work.
It's impressive, yeah. And 6 assists, so he's been involved in a whole bunch of kills. They just actually, at the bottom, although, to be fair, he's got 17 kills and got Cajun who's just above him with 18, but he's typically a guy that you expect to see at the very top and really leading the charge. He has had some pretty nice plays. He has had a lot of impact kills, but hasn't quite been the majors that we've came to expect over this last few months.
And this is just, I think this is really Dignitas just trying to like take a breather, basically.
Yeah.
Because, well, if they try and go for some craziness, like charge mid or something along those lines, right now Kinguin should be prepared mentally for that sort of thing. Kinguin should be just going for default kind of play here. Just, you know, stay buddy system, basically, wait and see. Did Dignitas try and come up with something clever? They should have an idea of the state of Dignitas' economy, the fact that they are broken, they have nothing left. Force buy with pistols, and Kinguin, they have it within their grasp. We should be going live in just a second here, 15-14. Kinguin in the lead now. And well, let's see, can they get the job done in 30 rounds?
Oh, you're going to see some kind of a stack from Dignitas as well with this lackluster, this bargain bucket buy-up. UMP and pistols. And pretty much standard, honestly. Nothing too out of the ordinary here. 2-1-2 formation with Connector obviously able to rotate to either site if it so needs to be, which is config. Playing up close, though, I like it with the pistols.
And the best part is that Kinguin took their time. Everybody on Kinguin, they took very defensive positions in case Dignitas tried to go for the aggression. Kinguin would have been ready for it. They would have punched him in the face. Instead, now it is going to go back into the realm of the comfortable here for Kinguin. Mihu, instead of Sparrow, interestingly enough, is going to be holding it mid for that rotator, and instead Sparrow rejoins the group, and they're going to go for a very standard execute onto the A site here, it looks like, for Kinguin. Cajun and Mig is trying to set a trap up close, though. With that UMP, it could be effective. Are they going to be able to check that angle quick enough?
I like this little crossfire they got down with Cajun watching the back as well, so if a player does peek, there's going to be 2 Tracers coming across the Matrix with 3 kills with his UMP. Does it solo. Oh my goodness, Kinguin, that was your chance. They've been completely demolished.
This is unbelievable. Let's see the shots now. Malzinho, you got a 1v4. And AKs have been picked up now for Dignitas as well. 2 AKs, in fact. Rubino and Cajun B have actually got guns to play with. And yeah, the trap, it's set. No flash, nothing to clear the close angle. In fact, it worked out perfectly. The bait and switch from Dignitas, and that's exactly the kind of clever stuff you expect to see out of them. The experience on land to keep themselves in the fight. Cajun will find the last kill, and we're going into overtime now. 15-15, tied up. Dignitas definitely not expecting to get this kind of a fight on their hands.
I mean, credit to Dignitas for holding on firm, but they would never have expected to be in 15-15 against Kinguin. There is the beautiful play. And I like the idea, I like the tactic. But Kinguin, they stumble, they trip over that final hurdle. And now overtime, surely this would favor Dignitas. I mean, obviously we've been saying that throughout this game. It hasn't really proved to be the case, but surely this is where the experience, the leadership of MSL shines through.
Yeah, this is where, exactly, this is a tournament-winning team now, Dignitas. They have that accolade at least. And so it really should tell. In these sorts of overtime scenarios, they should be able to get that lockdown going. They are still on the CT side, Kinguin on the T side, and Kinguin bringing the bomb towards B halls very early on. So curious to see if they're going to try and go back to the tried and true, what has worked for them in the past so far.
Sparrow takes a lot of damage just off the early peek up ramp. Nearly gets burnt out as well on top of it, so he has to just back off for the time being. We'll be relocating into Palace, and the meanwhile, Cajun with an aggressive peek up mid won't yield a great deal. Of course, it is a bit of information, but at this stage of the round, that really doesn't mean anything.
Aggro underpass as well, so he has cleared out 2 big angles now. That's a lot more presence in mid from Dignitas than we've seen in regulation. I mean, in regulation, they were really playing passive as config, playing from connector, just with a peek, and Rubino maybe ladder room, like not really challenging mid at all. So Cajun finally taking matters into his own hands. He didn't find anybody, but still, it's worth the effort. And instead of going B, they're going to rotate that bomb. Something is ticking into place here for Kinguin. Instead of going B, they are rotating that bomb into mid. 3 players in mid, and it's going to be that crunch onto the A site now, but there's a crossfire established right outside of connector here for Dignitas.
Yeah, this doesn't look to be boding too well for Kinguin. That smoke, though, could definitely put a wrench in the works, and Config's going to get taken down as a result. Cajun misses point-blank range. Not necessarily all down to him, though, as his teammate did whiff a little bit beforehand, and Kinguin, when it looked kind of poor for them, they didn't have a great deal of time left. They had to go all in on that execute. They make it work. I think they just got that flawlessly in the end. That is nuts.
Yeah, no, it all works out perfectly. They're able to, like, after Cajun's aggression mid, they're able to just walk straight up regardless, nonetheless. They walk straight up into connector, get the 3 players there, and just roll over the defense. Everybody on Dignitas missed their shots that round. And so now, well, you're going to have a bit of a tricky situation here. 16 to 15. And Dignitas run the risk of running out of economy, out of money. If they lose this next round, Dignitas, they're going to be on a force buy for that last round, which is not ideal. They've spent everything here. You do not want, especially when you struggled somewhat, you know, on your T side to get rounds, you do not want Kinguin to get a flawless first half here.
That certainly could be a bridge too far. Dignitas, as a result, again, we've mentioned this in the last couple of CT rounds that we've watched them, very heavy mid control this time around. 3 players in a closed-off environment right next to one another. Rubino is going to be taking that first engagement with his M4. No one seems to be interested in the time being on Kinguin. They're about to see some action here as Roland comes up and does dink Rubino, I believe. So he has to just back away. And so Kinguin, once again, they've got the early trades going in their favor.
Yeah, they have the edge. I do like Magus pushed all the way up into Palace like this, but there is going to be a slow take coming in here from Mauzinho. We'll have to see. This duel is going to be crucial. If Magus wins this and is able to shut out Mauzinho, exactly, he shuts him out. Now, King would have to worry about somebody up in Palace as they try and push up onto the A side. That is a huge kill. Cajun B needed to survive a bit longer there, however. He gets wiped out by Mihu, and Rubino, smoked out in CT, can't actually provide support.
I'm somewhat flabbergasted that Cajun B doesn't get at least 1 kill from that position because they're all too busy looking up at Palace. You have the drop on a couple players there, but now MSL comes in with 2. Sparrow's going to try and do what he can. Roland and Sparrow both chime back with frags. And as this entire map has gone, it is not laying on one team. They're just going back and forth. Rubino's going to die to Roland, and the clutch is real. Kinguin get a 17-15 lead, and Dignitas' woes continue.
They just keep on piling up. Kinguin. This is fantastic. Despite the rough start, losing the man in Palace, Magus had no impact at all when the push actually came out onto the site. Never showed himself. Was expecting some kind of rotation to come out, it seems, into T side. Wasn't able to contribute. And so Dignitas, one after another, they get picked up. I'm so impressed with the Kinguin level right now that we're seeing here. They are definitely hitting their shots, and they're on point with the tactics as well. Roland may not expect MSL to be holding so close, though, with that Swag 7. Bit of a scary scenario there towards the B apartments. And the bomb, once again, in B apartments, waiting to get picked up. So are they going to commit to this? That's the question. A little bit of damage dealt there to Furlan, and MSL showing his hand.
He's able to scamper away with his teammate. But Kinguin can't take it for granted just yet on B, but I like that they're playing this one slow. I like that they're almost allowing Dignitas to hang themselves here by playing aggressively in this desperation buy. If Dignitas lose this, as you say, the chances of Kinguin dropping all their CT rounds are pretty low. So this would be Kinguin taking a massive leap forward to causing this upset. This round's not over just yet, though. Mag 7 still in play, and the UMP, which came to the savior of Dignitas the last time around, and Conflict comes in with 2. Oh my goodness, the plays are real, and now it's going to be Dignitas who are surely in command, and there we go. They're going to pick up the last rounds. It seems like when the pressure's on, they deliver, but until then, they're kind of half asleep.
That was one of the sexiest headshots there at the end, though. I got to give it to Mauzinho. Oh, Cajun did not know what hit him there. That was a beautiful flick. Dunked. But then, yeah.
This is huge by Config.
They had
2 kills
50
there.
seconds left as well. I'm really wondering. Well, I mean, they're obviously thinking, well, we've thrown for the fake boys. They're thinking that we're going to hit B, so let's try and pounce on A. But then they didn't slow it down, kind of forced the issue, maybe just a little impatient there, and they get punished for it. So unfortunately, they will not have that perfect half King, despite the fact that they had everything going their way to do it. And Dignitas, they get a chance. 16 rounds on the board here for Dignitas going into their T side. Kinguin sitting with 17. And now we see it's the double AWP full commit here coming in from Kinguin. Between Sparrow and Mihu, we'll have to see if they're going to find that first pick. And it's a full buy from Dignitas, obviously, with Cajun B going for the AWP of his own. Boom, there's the shot, and he misses it.
Interesting that Kinguin would go for double AWP right off the bat. I mean, Mihu and Sparrow are both very capable AWPers. Cajun is going to get a second chance, and he will take it. Roland goes down. Not one of the 2 AWPers, but that is going to force Mihu now to fully focus on the apps. So this is where you expect Dignitas to start to pick and peel away at the defense of Kinguin. Furlan's dropped low. and he will die. That's a huge opening trade for Dignitas. This must be their round. Conflict with the next one. The 2 ops in play now, and no real hope. It's going to take a miraculous play by Mihu or Sparrow to pull this one off.
Exactly. Curious to see where it's going to come from as well. Dignitas have all the options and all the time. 50 seconds left on the clock here. And it does seem like they want to make their way back over towards that A site. They still have some utility to make use of on Magisk and Rubino. But Sparrow, there's the incendiary, spots him and misses the key shot. That would have started it all off. Instead, he's going to have to fall back. And really, they're going to be looking to save both of these AWPs. The only problem is exactly Magisk boy is over here by the murder hole. He's going to pick off Sparrow. And it's just Mihu. If they save one of the ops, though, that's still decent. Because, look, Sparrow spent all of his money. But if they save one of the ops, Mihu can drop that op to Sparrow. And then they're fine. They're sitting pretty. They get a full buy still.
Oof. Tasty shot onto Config. Not a second one in his position is now compromised. He's got players coming up around the back as well. It does not look as though Mihu will be able to save this weapon. The question is, which Dignitas member will take his life? It's going to be Rubino from the backside. So, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. If he manages to save that AWP, then the issues aren't quite as bad. But now that he hasn't, this is where it's going to sting.
Yeah, this is where it all changes up. Are we going to have the perfect half here from Dignitas? Are they going to be the ones? We're looking for the first team to 19 rounds here. So they have a chance now, Dignitas, to redeem themselves from the regulation time where they allowed this game to go to 15-15. Losing both pistols certainly did not help. But let's see. Dignitas now. Are they going to be able to find that shot? Sparrow still had the money, so they still managed to pick up an AWP for him, at least. But they are light on the utility here, Kinguin, somewhat, and so they're going to have to show some patience there. Can't just go throwing it out. They have to try and wait down this clock a little bit before they really show their hand.
And it's going to be all about that next round. If Kinguin lose this, if they concede this and don't save weapons, then they are really in a lot of bother. As we saw Dignitas, though they picked it up somehow. Once again, Sparrow with a keen eye trained onto mid. Dignitas could very well end up peeking this, and if they peek at Raw, you'd expect Sparrow to land at least one of these shots. Looks like it could be Cajun B to face first with the AWP.
It's so tough to flash somebody out of this position as well. And that's it. It's the bait, and MSL gets legged. No possible reply there. Just not fast enough, Cajun, on the follow-up. Timing just barely off, and there you go. MSL getting tagged down to 16 HP to start. Kinguin, they're showing us some fight. Mihu's on short. He's going to be close to look over connector. He can actually put some pressure down there, but the smoke goes down to block him off. He's going to try to make some kind of play to go through it.
Mage is going to be going into window. 33 seconds left, though. Dignitas needs some results. They need them right here, right now. And they're going to wait for the smoke to clear. So this is where Furlan should come in and really ruin the attempts of Dignitas. Time is still ticking down, but there's Mages, and very unfortunately for Furlan, he looks away into the jungle at the worst possible moment. Mazzino and Mihu both come in. Sparrow as well with an AWP shot. And it's going to be MSL dropping next. Mages has 10 seconds to try and salvage this round. There's the first one. But look where the bomb's dropped as well. It's going to have to be kills, and surely there's no hope now. 3 seconds down it goes. Kinguin have another map point.
Oh boy. Are they going to show us the mental fortitude, though, necessary to lock it down or not? They had a chance. They had a chance, and Dignitas were able to force overtime. And we're in that situation again now where it's up to Dignitas to get double OT. Okay, then. Double AWP, full buy for Kinguin, no problems at all. And well, for Dignitas, it is still a buy. They did manage to win one of these rounds here so far, so they will have the economy. Sparrow with that peek in the mid, the Molotov perfectly placed is going to deny him access. So frustrating to get that op into play in mid now on Mirage due to the short smoke, the very fast window smoke, the short smoke, and then the Molotovs. But this time around, Rollins going to be able to pick up Magisk. Instead, however, it's Cajun, luckily for him, peeking from Palace that catches Sparrow out of position. So we're still in a 4-on-4.
That pick is really significant as well, because now it allows Kinguin to get Roland into mid. If they didn't get that pick, it would probably have been a 2-2 formation, just desperately stacking on the sites, giving up mid control completely. So if Dignitas have a lot of things to worry about on the approach, they're going to have to consistently smoke out window. There's a chance they'll get peeked. Up through connector they will traverse. MSL's going to flash out towards jungle. Rubino just ahead of him. Malzino in shadow could be the determining factor, but he's going to get taken down almost instantly. MSL is there in command, leading by example. Furlan at the back of the CT box is going to get smoked off, and that will afford Dignitas the bomb plant. They may not be done just yet. We could be moving towards second overtime.
Oh, there's a shot from Mihu. Instantly returned though by MSL. Config wins his duel, and we are going into double OT. And this is where you wonder, where was that Dignitas, right? That was very clean. On the spacing, the buddy system there, allowing them to push onto the site together. Even with the man in shadow, it doesn't matter. There were 2 guys there facing him immediately, right? Where, you know, that's the kind of clean play that you need to see, really. And we weren't seeing that from Dignitas in regulation T-side, so it continues, Metas. It continues. Double OT here in our first game of the day at Dreamhack.
I continue to be mind blown at what I'm witnessing. I mean, I'm not going to lie here. I'm not going to pull punches. I thought Kinguin would be sort of the whipping boy of this group, and yet they've just came out the blocks and taken Dignitas to double overtime.
You can't say, you know, that they were supposed to be the punching bag.
Okay.
You could go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely think that they are one of the underdogs. I think it's safe to say in this group. It's just madness to me that Dignitas have been on the brink of defeat multiple times. We haven't actually seen Dignitas have a map point. Kinguin have had 3 or 4 of them now. It's just madness that we're in this position to start off with, but I agree. We saw some lifelines from Dignitas in that last round. That looked clean. That looked more like the Dignitas that we know. Maybe they finally awoken from their slumber. MSL's given them the kick up the backside that they needed. Double up set up again for Kinguin here.
I wonder. I mean, because Kinguin, I think the only reason they're not able to close is because they lack the experience. They aren't quite there yet. You know, they're on their first date. They're getting the jitters. They're stumbling over their words. And then they get sent home, you know? And so right now, Dignitas, right, they've got a good chance here. They can move up connector. Furlan is a bit stuck, and he has given away his position with that grenade, but he actually manages to sneak his way out of there. And so Dignitas back to square one. Meg is hoping to get lucky, and he will, in fact, find the shot on Furlan through that smoke.
I think we're starting to see Dignitas get more mid-control and feel more confident going through the likes of ladder and window. Maybe they've realized that is a weakness to exploit. There's next kill. Mages definitely seems to be stepping it up. 3 players are low, though, for Dignitas, and Sprero has just claimed the life of MSL. 30 seconds left. Sprero will not be getting the second play on the cross. The bomb should be getting planted here. Rubino with a beautiful drive-by one-tap. Mazzinho now has been spotted and will have to come out into the open, into the light. Config. Surely he's been spotted. I was thinking there that he's seen him for a little while. I think the flames maybe just keeping him alive for a few more seconds. Rubino and Cajun are so low here, though. Kinguin have a real chance at getting this one clutch. Cajun lands the shot onto Mihu. And now it's all Mazzinho. He's got the first one. He'd love to have a smoke in this kind of a situation to fend off, to cordon off the connector. It's not going to happen. So if Cajun plays his cards right, if he plays the time right, this round is his, but he gets taken down. And there is enough time, so Kinguin are going to actually get this clutch.
Wait. Yeah.
It was close.
It was close. It was close. That was a bit too close for comfort. Quad kill for Mazzinho in that round as well. And, well, that's just par for the course almost, it feels like, at this point in this map. I mean, it's been all sorts of rounds where it's just 1 player surviving, 2 players surviving, and somehow Kinguin managed it with no utility. You would think that they would actually, that Dignitas would be able to play it out. Had Cajun be survived for a split second longer, that would have been it. But the big clutch play there for Kinguin to start things off, 19-18. Dignitas did get the bomb plant down, though, so they still have plenty of money. But this is exciting stuff.
But it continues to be Kinguin who are really setting the pace here, who are dictating the pace of the action, that are constantly keeping their noses in front of Dignitas. We haven't really seen Dignitas at these latter stages take the lead for themselves. Mihu, nearly a dream lineup, gets 1 kill, but Cajun's down to 11. He will be finished off courtesy of Furlan's M4A4. And now Roland at the back of the site on bench. Doesn't really have to do a great deal. They just have to wait for this engage to come on in. It's the 4-on-2. They know the bulk of the terrorists now are on the B side. And Config may not be long for this world.
Oh, this should be Kinguin with the lockdown here. Smokes are going down to cut up that B site, but the full rotation is out now. 4 players and 1 with a slow lurk exactly over onto short. That's Furlan finding the easy kill on Magus, and Rollin will take down Config. 2-round lead now for Kinguin in the second round of overtime here, 20-18. And no bomb plant that time means that a couple of these players here, well, just the one actually, Cajun, is going to have to go for the Tech 9. And that's natural. I mean, he was the one investing in the AWP, so they still managed to get a decent buy out of it. But Dignitas, what is happening here with this T side on Mirage?
Kinguin just seemed to be stepping up a few notches in terms of their individual performance. I mean, I thought that would be where they'd falter, honestly. When it came down to the 1v1 aim duels, I thought Dignitas would be hands down firm favorites, but I mean, Kinguin, give them all the praise in the world. They've been able to step toe-to-toe. Give as good as they've taken.
This is the advantage when you are a massive underdog. When, you know, Dignitas are going to be focused on how do we beat the tier 1s, right? They're not going to be thinking about the Kinguins, right, or the alternate attacks, etc. And so that can lead to these awkward maps where Dignitas just aren't able to get anything rolling. Config going to get caught, trying to push through the smoke. Furlan nearly gets the drop on MSL, but then it's all Malzinho to end it. Perfect CT half here for Kinguin, 21 rounds.
3 required for triple overtime, Dignitas, on their CT side. This is not looking good. I mean, that's the understatement of the century, maybe, but I don't know what MSL is saying to the troops right now, how he can possibly get them back into this, because it's so unlikely that Kinguin can see 3 consecutive rounds at this point.
Yeah, no, that's well, again, it comes down to, are they going to be able to withstand the pressure? And this is a different scenario. They are 3 rounds ahead, so they can think, well, we have a little bit of room for error here. It's not all or nothing. It's not down to 1 round. They do have some room for error, but they still need to find it. They still need to figure it out here. And I'm curious to see if they're just going to go straight back to that B site. No. This actually did work. A very quick A take worked, but there is quite a few nades here. But this is it. Mihu, he just charges forward, nearly catches Cajun out of position completely.
He's completely destroyed right now because he's going to have mollies landing all around him. He does get at least 1 kill. And thanks in part to some of the smokes and flashes that the rest of his team have thrown out, he's able to relocate into Ninja. Now going to be moving forward a step further, but the molly lands in his eyes and Mihu claims the kill. This now allows Mihu onto Sandwich. And A hasn't quite been taken just yet, but Dignitas is scurrying back towards the B side. So Kinguin, of course, they don't have the benefit of what we can see. If they did, you better believe they'd be forcing their way into A at this point. Now Rubino is getting tagged up. I mean, this is hanging by a thread. Dignitas can't afford to concede any more frags, or this could be over.
Yeah, this is actually... Rollin is playing ladder room right now, and he's waiting for that B rotate, but MSL is still firmly over there. Rollin may be able to spot him out, but that's a side battle, because right now it's Rubino and Config holding in CT, and the real push is coming in here for Kinguin. Smoke has gone down to block off jungle. That allows for the bomb plant. Safe plants for them as well, and now all the pressure here on Dignitas. Rollin is alive on jungle as well, so this is brutal. Sparrow is rotating over. Malzinho is Palace. What a play here from Kinguin. They're going to have 2 players in mid ready to deny this, but there is a smoke up on MSL. If he can get that smoke down onto the bomb.
They have a smoke and an incendiary. I think they've actually decided to throw that into Palace. 3 smokes in different positions right now, cording off the terrorists. Config goes for a headshot, lands it. It's going to come down to Roland, who's pushing through. Oh, Rubino lands a no-scope, that looked like, and Config gets the defuse. This game will not end.
No, they refuse to give up Dignitas. This is nuts. You're thinking they've got every chance. But Kinguin, with the hesitation at the end, they had the opening onto the A site. They could have really just plowed through, but they decided to slow down the game and take their time. And that allowed for Dignitas to catch their breath and start landing some shots. 34 kills now for Config. 21-19. And Dignitas still have a chance. And wow, they are really going for it this time around. Again, Kinguin trying to barrel their way forward. But Mihu just alone. Nobody there to back him up, trying to set up the nades were his teammates.
Comes across as maybe a little bit predictable that Kinguin are continually going for this play now, and they know there's double ups on the side of Dignitas, and you can see Dignitas put a lot of utility up into ramp. Had 3 players looking through that. I think it was Cajun that claimed the last hit there with the AWP. So that is an instant hand to the face of Kinguin. They can't afford to push any further. 2 players still over on the A side, in Palace and ramp respectively, but the bomb is actually over towards the B app side of the map. They just could end up getting picked off in. That's going to open things up now for Kinguin. It's definitely going to put a couple of question marks above Dignitas as to what's about to happen up against them.
Yeah, because he only spots the 1. And he's going to be tagged. He doesn't spot anybody else. And that is going to be the bomb now rotating back over towards that A site. So awkward scenario there for Dignitas, actually, with Megas deciding to go for a peek on info. Sure. But with the man advantage, it does kind of favor Dignitas to just sit and wait and force Kinguin's hand, force them to play against the clock rather than anything. And now, yeah, with a 4-on-4, there is a man who's rotated over. That is Furlan working his way closer. Missed shot there from Cajun. He's going to get chased out from CT. He can get the pick on Malzinho. That would be big, but Malzinho in the meantime takes down Config.
Oh, Cajun, I do not envy his position right now. He's going to decide to go forward, lands the first shot, and he did actually leg Rollin before and finishes off what he started. Mazino's the last player alive, and Dignitas, just when you think that it's going to start to edge away from them, they clutch it right back again. How are they even still in this map?
I honestly wonder. But I honestly wonder if Kinguin are going to find what it is necessary to actually get Dignitas and lay them low. Because now, I mean, it's not like every single time now so far, it's been Dignitas just refusing to give up and fighting their way back. When Kinguin were on match point, you know, now they've had 3 match points, Kinguin, and they aren't able to secure the win. Is this the turning point?
I think in total, they may have even had 7 or 8 map points. It's been unbelievable here that Dignitas have held on for so long, but of course 3 in a row. This time they don't decide to go for a fast A hit. It's going to be slow and steady. Sparrow with the AWP. It is glass cannon, but he's watching ramp with it. Looks like it could be a B. Dignitas, you have 2 players up here. The Rubino's one of them. Pretty sure it's MSL that's just behind him. He's typically been in this position before, but I actually like this play. If he goes for the shot and misses, he can drop down. They probably wouldn't expect a second player to be stacked there. But I don't think Kinguin are going to find out because it seems like they're happy just going through underpass.
Yeah, it kind of sucks for Dignitas because they've used that exact setup so many times now, and Kinguin just refused to go B. And so the Dignitas are really have their hearts set on that play. Not going to happen, though, it seems, as it is going to be yet again another A split through connector. They're going back, rinse and repeat here. Kinguin and Cajun B has shown up. 2 kills for him, 3 kills for him. Is he going to get the quad? He knows that there's a second man over at Pit. He has that info, not going to hit the flank, and instead it's going to be Mihu and Mauzinho bringing it back to a 2-on-2. Magisk, however, still alive on the site, going to pick up the 1 kill. And with 30 seconds left now, it's all on Mauzinho, who wins the duel. But MSL has full control of the situation. Bomb is dropped right in front of him.
Yeah, nades, incendiary smoke. It's hard to see how MSL loses this round. 15 seconds left on the board. Mauzinho has to go in for it right here.